Hey everybody, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at a new game in the Valeria universe called Siege of Valeria. Siege of Valeria is a solo-only game from Glenn Flaherty, I'm not sure how you say his name, and Daily Magic Games. And what you're doing in this is it's effectively a tower defense game. So I'm taking on the role of a fortress, and I'm trying to keep these hordes of bad guys and siege engines like trebuchets and all that kind of thing from killing my turrets. It's a dice game. We're rolling some dice, using those dice to defeat the baddies. And that's effectively the game in standard mode. I'm not going to talk about the campaign because there's a campaign mode, but it's going to add a few additional rules and just make it a little more interesting. But I'm only going to talk about standard. So let's go down to the table. Check it out. All right, so here is Siege of Valeria all set up. This is a solo-only game, so you're going to see it as you set up in the standard game. It also has some campaign. I'm not going to show you that here. It's just going to add some more rules, but it's going to play similarly. So the way you're going to set up is you're going to shuffle the siege engines here, which are going to have this back. You're going to remove 5 from the game, and then you're going to flip 5 up into the top 5 row, the row 5, which I've done. Then you're going to shuffle the troop cards. You're going to deal yourself 2, remove 2 from the game, shuffle the rest, and then put 20 cards out here in the grid. This is going to be the battle that you're going to be fighting. And this row right here is called the Vanguard. So we need to know that because if you look at the siege engines, they'll have specific icons for the Vanguard as a little V. So we need to know that. Then you're going to shuffle the champions, put them here, shuffle the events, put them here. Leave the rest of the dice, the magic tokens, the strength tokens, and the impact tokens all off to the side. And you're going to start with 5 strength dice and 2 magic dice. All right, so the way the game works is, first thing that's going to happen is we're going to roll the dice. All right, and these are our results. Okay. Then what's going to happen is we're going to resolve the siege engines. So if you look at a siege engine, it's going to have a column, a row that's out of range. And if it has a green banner, those are going to be in range, and that's when the action at the bottom is going to take effect. So right now, this one's in row 5. It does not fire off because it's out of range. This one does. Discard 1 champion and flip 1. I don't have any champions, so that's fine. Out of range, out of range, out of range. So we don't have to worry about any of those right now. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to flip an event. So we'll flip an event and we'll see what happens. Look at the top 3 event cards, then return them to the top of the deck in any order. Draw 2 and add them to your fortress. Activate 1 siege engine currently out of range, or remove all from 1 turret. Ooh, let's do this one. This was good. We'll put these 2 in order because they'll be the best. And then this one can go third. So I know the next 2 events that are going to happen are going to be good for me. So that's helpful. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take actions. So what happens here is you're going to be allocating your dice to the Vanguard row unless you have a card that you can play from your hand for the ability. Attack any non-front row card. So a front row card, I could attack this card. Now this card's in the front row, I could attack that. But I can't attack behind the front row unless I have a card that lets me do that. Okay? So let's just go ahead and I'm going to use this one actually. Gain and roll 1 magic die and gain 1 champion. So I'm going to discard this out of the game. Gain a blue die, roll it in. A magic die. And then I also get to gain a champion. A champion will go into your fortress. And they're going to have a special ability. If it has this icon, that means when I use it for the round, I flip it over. So we know. If it has a little trash can, that means when I use it, it's out of the game. Or it goes to the discard pile. So remove all red and blue tokens from 1 card. We don't have any tokens, so this is fine. You can use this for the ability on the card, or you can discard it to remove damage tokens from a turret, because the way that you lose is if you have a siege engine down here into the Vanguard, when the Vanguard attacks, you lose. If you have to replenish from the troop row and there's no cards to replenish with, you lose. Or if one of your turrets takes 4 damage, you lose. The way you win is by defeating all of the siege engines and not being able to replenish any of them from this row. That's how you win. 3 ways to lose, 1 way to win. Okay, so that is that. Now we're going to go ahead and start assigning dice. When you assign dice, just like in some of the other Valeria games, if it has magic and strength, I have to at least assign that many magic, and I have to at least use some strength, but I could pay 5 magic and 1 strength to tackle this. For this one, I could spend all 5 strength. I could spend 4 strength and a magic. I could spend 4 magic and 1 strength, but there has to be 1 strength attributed to this. So that's kind of how the assigning dice works. Let's go ahead and assign some. Let's go here. We'll go 5 die there. When you kill the card, it comes down for a card that you can use immediately. Let's see. This is a 3. We might as well just keep going. So this is a 3. I don't know where you can just put. I like to put the dice where they came from, just because it's fun. This is a 5. We'll kill this guy. So we got 2 of these cards. They're the same. Okay, and then I need a 3. So I'm going to +1 or -1 to any die. That's black as any die. I'm going to bump this up to a 3. And then I'm going to come over here with this 4 and this 3. And we're going to pop that. And I get this guy. Swap 2 adjacent cards. That could come in handy later. I'd really like to hit that guy over there. Yeah, I'm going to overpay. So I'm going to pay 12 over here to fight this guy. Defeat. I have 1 blue left. I can't do much without a red die. So I think I am done. All right, so that's all my actions. Anything I didn't use will stay in will come back to my supply to be used. Any dice you acquire are yours until you have some card that goes away. Next thing that happens is you're going to activate the Vanguard. If there are any cards left in this front row, they're going to attack. Like if this card was here and I didn't defeat it, it would attack and it would put 1 damage on the turret in its column. But I don't have any of that. If the siege engine was down there, I automatically lose the game. So you don't want that to happen. So I don't do that. And then what's going to happen is you're going to slide everything down. They're all going to move down 1 space. So like if it was like this, or this one was gone, it would just slide down like this and there would still be a hole in space number 2. But that's not what's happening. So we slide down. Because we defeat it evenly, it's going to be a little bit more even to slide down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look and see if we've defeated any siege engines, because there's always 1 siege engine per column. In this case, we have all 5 still, so we don't have to put a new one out. Otherwise, you'd put a new one in row 5 of the appropriate column. And then what's going to happen is you're going to draw exactly 4 troops, and they're going to go into either any of the holes down here or up here at the top. Just 4. There might be 5 spaces left. That doesn't matter. We're only flipping 4. Okay. Then we're done. Then we're going to go ahead and do it again. So the first thing we do is, if this was flipped over, we'd unflip it because we get to do that at the roll phase. And then we're going to roll. All right. Just use these turrets that I'm not using yet to hold dice. Okay. Then the siege engines will attack. This one's out of range at 4. This one's out of range at 4. Out of range at 4. Out of range at 4. In range at 4. Add 1 impact token to the turret below. So this one has taken some damage from the trebuchet. All right, then we'll do an event. This is a good event for me. I get to draw 2 champions and add them to my fortress. So we'll slide these down because we're going to have a couple more people in. You can add them anywhere. I'm probably actually going to put it on that last one because that'll make a little more sense. So I get that one and this one. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and get started again with round 2. All right, we'll play one more round and then I'll wrap it up. Okay. Attack any non-front row card. Swap 2 adjacent cards. All right, so I'm going to swap. I'm going to swap 2 cards. I want to defeat a siege engine so you can see what happens here. I'm going to swap these 2 cards. Adjacent is orthogonal. Then what's going to happen, I'm going to attack any non-front row card. So I'm going to attack this one. It's in row 3, so it takes 12 strength to defeat. Ooh, hang on, let's see. So I'll actually defeat this. I'll hit this. Ooh, yeah, I'll hit this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the 6 and 3 magic over here, because I can discard this to spend +2 magic to overkill an adjacent siege. So I've killed this. I can tag any card that's not in the front row. I get that. And now, because I've overkilled it using this card, using the 2 magic, I kill this. When you kill it, you're going to get a champion. So this goes into the discard pile here. I take a champion, add it to my board. And there's the trash icon. When I use that, I have to trash that card. So that was a good turn right there. That got a siege engine out of the way, which was nice. I used a lot of dice, 2 dice for it, but that's fine. Then we will flip 1 die to the opposite side. So let's flip this one to a 5. That feels good. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to gain and roll a red die. All right, there we go. That'll be helpful. So I'll use this 5. I'll hit this. I'll use this 3 and this 5 for 8 to hit this. 4 of that had to be magic, and I did that. Spend 2 to overkill an adjacent red or blue. So I'm going to flip this die to the opposite side. And I'm going to remove any, I don't have that. Reroll 2 spent. Let's do that. So I'm going to discard this guy because he's a trash. Discard this champion. Lady Oswin, so it's a lady. She gets discarded. And we're going to reroll 2 spent soldier die. So they'll come into my supply, which is nice. And I'm also going to go ahead and discard this guy to remove the impact token. So discarded. And then I'm going to do this. Oh, I need 4. No, that's fine. I'll do this there. So that's 9. I overkilled it a little bit. That's fine. Got that card. Spend a +2. I'll pop this. This one's dead. I will pop this. This one's dead. Now all these cards are considered in the front row. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this one for 10, which is really 2. But I will spend this because I paid an extra 2. So I spent 10, and that will let me overkill an adjacent red or blue, and I will overkill this one. So I'll get both of these cards into my hand. And that is all I can do because I'm out of dice. That was a pretty good turn. So then what we're going to do, take all of our dice back. Anybody in the vanguard would attack. There aren't any. So then nothing else matters. We'll come down, slide down. Everything slides down. 1 space. Okay. And then we will, every column has to have a siege engine. So this one does not. So siege engine gets brought into column 5. Then we'll take 4 cards and we will be refilling. 2, 3, 4. And that's how we're going to keep going until either we've defeated all the siege engines and there's no more left in the pile, or we have lost the entire turret and we lose. We have no more of these cards to replenish. We lose, or we are attacked by a siege engine in the vanguard and we lose. So that is Siege of Valeria. Let's go up the top, see what we think about it. All right, well, that was Siege of Valeria. So I've played a couple Valeria games. I played Valeria Card Kingdoms, which I think is the first one. What's the last one? Kingdoms of Valeria, I think, which is the one where you're trying to, it's a worker placement one. You're going around to the different locations to draft dice to fulfill the contracts. And I've played this one now. I also have Thrones of Valeria, which I haven't yet played. But I think of all of those 3, this one may be the one that I've had the most fun with. It's probably not my favorite, but I've had the most fun with it because it's just an enjoyable sit down by myself, fight some baddies. And, you know, I don't have to have other people here to play a game with me. I can just go play a fun game by myself. And this game's fun. So like you saw in the overview, that's everything the standard game is. I made a few rules mistakes that I'll put in the video description. When you're resetting the round, all the cards slide all the way down. I misinterpreted the rules and I only slid them down one space, but if there's 3 spaces in front of it, it'll slide all the way down. So it's not going to change the game a ton and just make it a little bit harder, because some of those siege engines will get down to the Vanguard a lot quicker than what I showed you. But either way, there's notes for that in the video description. Not a big deal, but I just wanted to specify that. So if you see it and you get the rule book, you're like, hey, this is not easy for me, and that's because I showed it a little bit easier. But there's it. So this is a prototype that I have, which is why it's in this mysterious white box. Some of the art you could see in the siege engines. Let me see if I can find those here. Some of the art is just placeholder art. The rule book is just stapled together with some of the siege engines. Oh, here's one right here. Perfect. So some of the siege engines are just placeholder art, so there's no background here because the Miko's still working on it. Normal art, like every other Valeria game. The Miko, I don't know how to say his full name, but he does amazing art. You can definitely tell it's him. You can definitely tell it's the Valeria universe, so that's cool. But I don't know if the game's going to change at all. I'm assuming the Fortress board's going to look nicer because mine is just a cardboard with some paper wrapped around it to make the board look nice. And the cards are paper and sleeves, so all that stuff's going to look regular. But I actually do like these dice. These are pretty nice dice. I don't know if they're going to change, but of the prototype components, these and these, the impact tokens are incredible. These are just the same tokens from the other games, I'm pretty sure, so that should be consistent with everything else. So I wouldn't think that's going to change a lot. But yeah, prototype, so the components, I wouldn't put too much stock in the components. They'll look nicer. But yeah, this is a really fun game. I've been playing a lot more solo games just because it's easier. Like if my family doesn't want to play a game or they're doing something else, I can just play a solo game for 20-30 minutes and just have some fun. So yeah, that's what this one is for me. It fits the theme of the Valeria series. It's a fun tower defense game, and it's a puzzle that's pretty hard to beat, especially if you get terrible dice rolls. So yeah, so that is Siege of Valeria, and I'm going to give this a BGM accepted seal. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 4 out of 5 wrenches on our arbitrary wrench scale that means absolutely nothing. But we'll have to give it the games that we enjoy, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's Siege of Valeria from Daily Magic Games. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.